Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning, I'm Jeff Kellam. Welcome to this week's edition of Encounter. When I was a student at Jenny F. Snap School, we won't talk about the date, it's irrelevant. But when I was there, the guidance department wanted us students to fill out a vocational form to say, what do you want to do with the rest of your life as you plan your high school curriculum? So number one for me was dentistry. Number two was scientific writer. I wasn't even sure what that was, but my guidance counselor said, that sounds good. And my father, who was helping me fill out the form, said, now what are you going to put for number three? And I said, well, how about the ministry? And I remember my dad stopped what he was doing and turned and said, are you sure? Well, all I knew of ministry was pastoral ministry, minister of a local church. Then I went to college, and I realized there's chaplaincy too. I didn't choose either of those routes. I went into media work. But a person that is our guest today did choose one of those routes. He is a chaplain. And we'll talk a little bit about chaplaincy. Our guest today is the Reverend Doctor, congratulations on your Doctor of Ministry degree.
Thank you.
Cris Mogenson. And you work with the Broome County Council of Churches as the chaplain at the Broome County Jail. We have a couple of things on the agenda for this program. One is to talk about Christmas at the jail, and I'd like to start there because we're trying to build up an awareness of some of the needs of the prisoners at Christmas time. And then we want to talk a little bit about chaplaincy and then see where that goes in terms of your doctoral work. Okay. So let's start with Christmas. There's a Christmas program that's coming up that we want to get folks involved in.
There's actually a couple prongs to this one. One of the, these folks, when they're in jail, you have to remember that well less than 20% are actually sentenced. And that's factoring in, well, if you factor out the weekenders, we're probably closer to 10 or 12% that are actually sentenced. And they're just waiting. So life is in a complete turmoil.
So 80% of the folks have been arrested, placed in jail, but they've not gone to trial.
Exactly.
So we don't know whether they're guilty or not.
And a lot of times they feel very, very much abandoned. And of course you've got folks in the community that would rather that be that way. We've all seen that. Yeah. But life is in a turmoil, and what we do for the inmates is we have these. We do this gift thing for Christmas. We have these white paper bags that people can pick up at the council and decorate them. Don't decorate them with pipe cleaners and stuff, but yeah. Cut out cards or whatever, stencils. Yeah. And we collect a number of things that we put in those bags, very simple things that mean a lot to the inmate, but maybe taken for granted by us. A deck of cards or a word puzzle book, package of tissues, a couple candy canes, this little handwritten card, and a candy bar. Yeah. That's it. And we're collecting those items right now. We'll handle the candy bars, but we're looking for the candy canes, the tissue packets, decks of cards, and puzzle books. They can be dropped off at the council. And on the 20th of December, we're going to be meeting at the police academy. If anybody would like to be with us, we need an RSVP, so let me know. Okay. But we stuff those bags, and then they're delivered on Christmas Eve. Ah, okay. The other program, this is one of my favorites, is an offshoot of our family literacy program. We were reading, throughout the year, we have inmates read books onto a digital recorder. Yeah. And we send the book and the CD to their child. Now, an outgrowth from that is, it's almost like Toys for Tots or Angel Tree, but it's our own program. We collect new or nearly new children's books, and we have sheets that are filled out by the inmates, and we match those books with their children. We wrap them up, and it's happening at Sarah Jane Johnson on the 5th at noon, and they can be picked up there and delivered hand-delivered to their homes.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody would like to either help wrap them or donate books or deliver them, they're sorted out by zip codes. You don't even have to talk to the person at the door. You could just hang it on the doorknob. That's okay.
Right, right.
And so those are the two Christmas projects. The other thing that we do at this time is our biggest time of the year to collect sweatsuits. Elastic is a great thing. Sweatsuits for re-entry, because if you get arrested in July and get released on a day like today,
oh, sure,
you know, a little bit of a problem with samples or whatever.
Right.
And we also collect hygiene items and bus passes, which we can distribute throughout the year for those in need. Oh, one more thing, we do Christmas cards for the inmates. We give them 2 to 3, depending on the money, stamped Christmas cards that they can send to their family or loved ones.
Right. So they need stamps and they need cards. Yeah. And this is both, we have to remind ourselves, it's both men and women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to go back to the literacy program, the inmates recording books for their children to hear so they can hear their mother or father's voice or grandparents' voice perhaps. And the offshoot of that is to collect the books. And what kind of books are we talking about? What age groups are we talking about?
We're talking from infant. Well, sometimes we send books to kids that haven't been born yet. We go from infant all the way up to, you know, if they're living at home, we try to include them.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes they're hardcover sports books or whatever for someone who's in their teens or you know, the whole gamut.
And new or used?
New or
gently used?
Or gently used, yeah.
Okay.
If they've got like rubber stamps in there from a library or something, we don't,
Right.
we use another program.
So the white bags for the first gifts that you mentioned are available at the office of the Broome County Council of Churches. Do you remember the address?
3 Otsenango Street.
3 Otsenango Street. Okay.
Binghamton.
And then then you mentioned Sarah Jane Johnson. You would drop. I'm getting
you could drop
programs.
off. You could drop off the children's books for the Christmas program there, which is right next to Wilson Hospital.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is important because if you are incarcerated at the holidays, this just compounds the separation you feel from your family or from the community. And as you point out, you know, 80% of these folks haven't been sent to trial yet. And so there is confusion, there's misunderstanding, there's sadness. It's a hard time.
And the kids, these are kind of collateral damage, if you would. There's abandonment, there's resentment, there's anger, there's confusion, there's displacement, and they're not the guilty party.
Yeah, the kid didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The holidays probably present you as a chaplain with some extra anxiety as well.
It's a little busy.
Yeah. Well, describe what it's like a little bit.
Well, right now we're the other thing we needed was stuffed animals. We included those with the books now for the kids. So we're scrambling around. We could use stuffed animals. We're scrambling around for all the items, and one of our volunteers, Janet Kent, and another one, Marlene Lawson, have been out there doing inventory, and they've been great. But right now it's just the anxiety of trying to make sure we have enough of these items. I went over to Giant one year and bought out every candy cane they had in the place while we were doing the wrapping.
Yeah.
But yeah, always trying to make sure that there's enough items.
Right. Our church has a tree, and I think there must be some interpretive card or sign that says this is for the county jail. And there must be a list too there.
Should be.
I've passed by it so many times. So churches can do this as a community of faith, and synagogues and the mosque as well. Okay. And what are the cautions here? You mentioned stuffed animals.
Well, we want new stuffed animals, and ones that are not too fuzzy, I guess. You know, hypoallergenic. If you just use your discretion on that.
Okay. Your work as a chaplain, you know, Matthew 25 has this wonderful passage where Jesus is separating the sheep from the goats. And one of the things is I was in prison and you visited me. This is, you know, you're a professional sheep here, visiting professionally, what moved you into this ministry?
Well,
is that too long a story to tell?
No, it's not. To be honest with you, I got a little bit annoyed with people worrying about church lawns and carpet, whether a wedding party had to use paper plates or use the dishes in the kitchen. You know what I'm talking about. And I really wanted to do ministry where the rubber really met the road.
Yeah.
And we worry about so many superfluous things in the local church. And I just got tired of it.
So,
yeah, so I'm here.
Yeah.
18 plus years now in this facility. I started out as a chaplain initially.
Yeah. And what kind of training do you have moving from general ministry into chaplaincy?
Well, CPE is essential, I think.
Which is clinical pastoral education. Yeah. Yeah.
And some of the professional groups are a great help. I was the regional director for the American Correctional Chaplains Association. I'm the president now for the New York State Protestant Chaplains Association. I'm going to plug in for them.
Yeah.
You're interested in any chaplaincy in New York State, we're the group to be part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good group.
There are other kinds of chaplains. So I mentioned college chaplains at the head of the program, and you're a jail chaplain. Are there still industrial chaplains?
Yeah, actually, I believe it or not, I was one. Down in New Jersey, I worked with Her Foods, the potato chip company.
Yeah.
And Father Stan, our Catholic chaplain, he said, so you were a chipmunk. But I worked with Marketplace Ministries as a corporate chaplain.
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually worked out there on the loading docks with the drivers from Hers.
We don't hear very much about that kind of chaplaincy, where in a large corporation or a large factory, people have spiritual issues that sometimes affect their work. And it behooves the corporate ownership to have someone on hand who can deal with this on a professional level.
It was one of the epiphanies for me, actually sitting in the back of a truck one time with the driver, and he was discussing his son's addiction issues. And it was, hey, wait a minute, this is real.
Yeah.
This is tangible.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
Right. So going back to the jail chaplaincy, my image is that you lead worship. What's that like? Is that Sunday mornings at 11?
I lead some of it. I take care of, and my staff, we take care of special and restricted housing, where the inmates can't come to the chapel. And I'll do some other services with that in the chapel. But I have a cadre of about 85 volunteers that actually conduct the services up in the chapel.
I had no idea.
And they rotate through. And there's over 3 dozen different things going on every week up in the chapel.
Yeah.
There's AA or Celebrate Recovery. There's a Jewish service. There's Juma. There's worship services. Parenting, all sorts of things are going on up there.
Yes, right.
We handle all the volunteer services in the jail as well.
Right.
So all those life skills classes.
And how many, you're the Protestant chaplain. So
I'm actually kind of both. I'm the coordinating chaplain and the Protestant chaplain.
Okay, and so we also have a Catholic chaplain?
Yeah, Deacon Dale Crotzley.
A rabbi?
Yeah, and he's volunteer.
Yeah.
Rabbi Barry Barron.
An imam?
Yes, Jay, he's only part-time.
Yes.
Jay Griffin, he works for the state controller.
Right.
But he does a couple hours on Friday for us. Good man. We have another volunteer imam also that does Arabic classes on Monday. And to show the amount of cooperation, 2 years ago, he was in my office stamping Christmas cards with me. He's a great guy.
That's great. That's good. That's good. So, so leading worship and then coordinating the volunteers. What about the personal conversations that you have with the inmates?
Oh, those are constant. Those are constant. Deacon Dorothy Pierce, who's a discharge planner and assistant chaplain, she's tremendous with this. But we had a couple death notifications just this week, so we spent a lot of time with that.
Right.
And conversion issues, people trying to grapple with their own religiosity and affiliations, and then we've got separation issues and drug and alcohol, and there's a lot.
Right.
We do more of that than anything else, I think.
Yeah. And the trust issue, How long is it, I guess it varies from inmate to inmate, for them to reach out to you?
It happens a lot of times pretty quick. We're kind of like the catch-all for most things. So, you know, we're a compassionate ear. And correction system, usually, that's one thing that's usually lacking is communication.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, well, you say everybody gets religion in jail, just like they do in foxholes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. We try to, you know, anytime there's change and flux in a person's life is where people a lot of times are a little bit more spiritually sensitive.
Yeah.
So we don't want to capitalize that in a negative way, but be available to be a help.
Right. Our guest today on Encounter is Cris Mogenson, who is the Broome County Council of Churches sponsored chaplain, Protestant chaplain at the Broome County Jail. When one looks at the training it takes to become a chaplain, I would imagine listening skills are something you need to hone, to listen without judgment. How are you doing at that?
I try to just ignore the names on the news and in the papers.
Yeah.
When I read about this, I want to approach everybody as made in the image of God.
Ah, good.
And I'm also the chaplain for the officers too.
Oh yes.
So, yeah, I'm for both. So I try to maintain neutrality as best as I can.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that part of it. You know, when I was doing radio and TV work, I found myself as a chaplain to the staff at the stations where I was doing my production. So you wind up being a chaplain also to the officers, to the staff. They know that you're around and can be trusted.
Hope so.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about, we've talked a little bit in our conversation about re-entry. Mm-hmm. This is the re-entry of a person who's been incarcerated back into the community. Working, you can work from the jail part of it, but what happens in the community when folks are released and find themselves back free now, finding a new path?
Yeah, jails in New York are, you know, we house those awaiting sentencing or disposition and those that are sentenced up to a year for misdemeanor charge. And you could do 2 consecutive ones, so you could actually be in there 2 years. But the average length of stay in jail nationwide is only about 24 days. The average length of stay in New York is about 48 days. We're not real quick with that here. But even at 48 days, the transition in and out of jail is very, very quick. You know, and the problem being re-entry in a state facility, and we have a great re-entry program here called ABLE. It's with the county, and they're cooperative with the state facilities. Such a state program.
Is that an acronym, ABLE?
ABLE, yeah. I can't remember exactly what this stands for. But Jeff Pryor, he was actually one of our interns in the jail ministry years ago.
Yeah.
We were real proud of Jeff. But Jeff's doing a wonderful job. And they're going to start doing some stuff, programming in the jail. But typically, though, you have a lot more time to work with a prison inmate. And the jail, it transitions so fast.
Yes.
Nationwide, we cycle through our jail population 17 times in the course of 1 year. 9 million people are coming through that system.
Right.
And so someone can be released. It's happened to us last week. 4 o'clock, a judge lets them go. They're homeless, no clothes, no transportation, and we're scrambling around trying to find just like Band-Aids for them,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so the transition's quick. So this is where Dorothy comes in, does a great job with this. But the thing that I'm worried about is they're going back out to the same community, the same situation, the same bar, the same friends.
Yes.
And, you know, people, places, and things. AA talks about that, and they're right back in.
Yeah.
Doing what we call the life sentence on the installment plan, in and out. So we are trying to, the Council of Churches we work for the congregations, not the other way around. We belong to them.
Right.
And that's the philosophy that I approach this with. And being that all these volunteers are doing the services inside the jail, and there's some people with kind of a checkered past that couldn't get in the jail but wanted to serve. And so I'm like, well, why don't we expand the ministry outside into these congregations?
Yes.
So we started what we call a congregationally based mentoring program. Initially started to, wanted to get 3 people on a team of the same gender to receive a person coming out from jail into their congregation. Some churches you can't do 3 because they're so small.
Yeah.
But with the pastoral staff, it's essential, though, that they're on board. We have about 42 churches right now, or congregations, I should say, that have said, hey, you can send them here. And we've had real success with this.
That's 42 within Broome County.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it's covers rural and metro areas. And now some of these a lot of the churches haven't gotten anybody because where they're at, but they've been willing.
Right.
Some more of our downtown churches have seen more people.
Yeah.
And the amount of recidivism that has happened from those that actually have attended these congregations is incredibly low.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
Yeah. So
I'm very
once the
happy.
person finds a sense of community and purpose and support, they're less likely than to find themselves back.
That's
in
what we
the system.
found. There are 3 markers we're looking at: belonging, responsibility, and purpose. And with belonging, it no longer becomes your church or their church or that church, but my church.
Yeah.
Responsibility is where they start to take responsibilities for some of the things that need to be done to get their kids back or to get that resume put together, get that job. And purpose is to laugh, to learn, to dream, to have a goal in place. And one of the things that we found, well, actually 2 big things. We need to receive them without any fanfare, very quietly. Don't showcase them.
Right.
Don't embarrass them.
Don't make an article in the church newsletter about them.
Yeah, and people will relapse. It's not if.
Yeah.
It's going to happen a couple times if it's a drug issue. And I'm going to excuse that, but we have to be open to that and realizing that certainly is a possibility.
This is we're not talking about a Hallmark movie here. We're talking about real life where relapsing does occur.
And the other thing, though, is to give them a job to do in that congregation. We found that was absolutely essential.
Yeah.
And then that taught responsibility. It actually creates a work record, too, that you can put on a resume.
So it's like what kind of job?
Oh, working in a food pantry. We've actually, if they're able to, with a clean license, to drive a church van, maybe play the guitar in the worship service. And, that type of thing.
Yeah, wonderful. So if someone involved in our program right now is thinking that would be good for our church, what should they do?
Give me a call.
All right. And what would be your number?
You can call me at the jail at 607-778-6518.
778-6518.
Yes.
Or they could probably go to the Broome County Council of Churches website.
Yeah, that will work.
And your ministry is described there on the website.
Yes.
I think your video is there because I think I shot that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one way to find out more about how to become involved. Not only as we've been talking about in welcoming persons who are now out of the penal system and into your local community, but also how you can help those who are inside. And let's go back and retrace now some of the Christmas stuff that's going on. So in case anybody joined us late,
okay.
Because the holidays are coming up, and if we are going to listen to what Jesus said about visiting those in prison, we may not make that personal call by walking through the doors or the bars, but in terms of providing ministry to them and their children, then there's the book ministry, cards. I like the idea of finding Christmas cards for folks and giving them a couple of stamps so they can.
Actually, if you want to put the stamps on the envelope, that'd be great.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And then health kits.
Hygiene kits.
Hygiene kits. Yeah. What goes into a hygiene kit?
Well,
let me guess. Toothpaste. Yeah.
Toothpaste, toothbrushes. We like to do full-size stuff. Those are the hotel stuff. Body wash is better than bar soap for a lot of these folks where they're living.
Right.
Deodorant, razors, shaving cream.
Right.
Type of thing. The bags, they're not all uniform. We do the best we can.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I need, very desperately, paperback Bibles. We always need those. And they can be in any shape, but just paperback.
Right, in any translation.
Yeah,
just,
but the vinyl covers, you know, like the leather ones or the vinyl covers.
Right.
Those flex bindings, we can't use those. We can't use any hard covers, but those flex ones, they create a pocket down the spine.
Yeah.
Which could be a problem.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So a paperback Bible of any, if it's slightly used, that would be fine.
No, that's fine. It's okay.
And you know, they're not expensive. Some Sunday school class could buy 10 of them and drop them off. So once again, your contact information is through the Broome County Council of Churches. Go to the website there, or they can call you again. Let me do that phone number one more time.
778-6518.
Wonderful.
You can also email me at bcj, Broome County Jail, Chaplain, @gmail.com.
That's so easy, even I can remember it. For the next 5 minutes, maybe. One last thing as we look at how folks can become involved. Folks who do want to volunteer, you have, like you said, like 85
About 85
volunteers.
right now.
What if somebody wants to join up? Any prerequisites?
No. It's just having a compassionate heart and willing to work interdenominationally.
Yes.
That's a must. But if they contact me, I'll send them an application. My application, I'm not too worried about my end, but there's a background release form that needs to be filled out. So the sheriff's office can do the background release on the security end.
Yep.
Because they're the ones that issue the IDs at the jail.
Yeah. So there is some background checking that goes on. Once again, our guest has been Cris Mogenson, recently having earned his Doctor of Ministry degree. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
And my wife is more happy than I am.
How you fit that into serving 2 churches and jail chaplaincy and studying at the same time. But you serve as the chaplain at the Broome County Jail and working on behalf of the Broome County Council of Churches. I want to thank our viewers and listeners for joining us for this Encounter program, which is produced by the Broome County Council of Churches. Here in the studios of WBNG TV. Every time I say studio, my eyes. And then the audio track is on WMBF Radio. I'm Jeff Kellam, the Parish Associate at Union Presbyterian Church, hoping that in the coming week you'll be gentle with people and with yourself.